A community living in northwestern provinces of China, why has it caught the attention of human rights communities internationally? Hello and welcome to UPSC PolityView. Today, let's learn about the Uyghur. The Uyghur, also spelled Uyghur or Uyghur, are Turkic-speaking people of interior Asia. Uyghurs lived for the most part in northwestern China in the Uyghur Autonomous Region of Xinjiang. A small number live in the Central Asian republics as well. There were some 10 million Uyghurs in China and at least a combined total of 300,000 in Uzbekistan, Kazakhstan and Kyrgyzstan in the early 21st century. The Uyghur language is part of the Turkic group of Altaic languages, and the Uyghurs are among the oldest Turkic-speaking peoples of Central Asia. They are mentioned in Chinese records from the 3rd century CE. The Uyghurs first rose to prominence in the 8th century when they established a kingdom along the Orkhon River in what is now north-central Mongolia. In 840, this state was overrun by the Kyrgyz. However, the Uyghurs migrated southwestward to the area around Tian Shan. There the Uyghurs formed another independent kingdom in the Turfan Depression region. But this was overthrown by the expanding Mongols in the 13th century. The Uyghurs are mainly a sedentary village-dwelling people who live in the network of oases formed in the valleys and lower slopes of the Tian Shan, Pamirs and related mountain systems. The region is one of the most arid in the world. Hence, for centuries, they have practiced irrigation to conserve their water supply for agriculture. Their principal food crops are wheat, corn, kaoliang, which is a form of sorghum, and melons. The chief industrial crop is cotton, which has long been grown in the area. Many Uyghurs are employed in petroleum extraction, mining, and manufacturing in urban centers. The chief Uyghur cities are Urumqi, the capital of Xinjiang, and Kashgar or Kashi, an ancient center of trade on the historic Silk Road near the border between Russia and China. The Uyghurs have lacked political unity in recent centuries, except for a brief period during the 19th century when they were in revolt against Beijing. Their social organization is centered on the village. The Uyghurs of Xinjiang are Sunni Muslims. Large numbers of Han began moving into Xinjiang after the establishment of the autonomous region in the 1950s. The Huns are ethnic Chinese. The influx became especially pronounced after 1990, and by the late 20th century, the Han constituted 2/5 of Xinjiang's total population. Over time, economic disparities and ethnic tensions grew between the Uyghur and Han populations that eventually resulted in protests and other disturbances. A particularly violent outbreak occurred in July 2009, mainly in Urumqi, in which it was reported that nearly 200 people, mostly Han, were killed and some 1,700 were injured. Violent incidents increased after that and included attacks by knife-wielding assailants and by suicide bombers. Chinese authorities responded by cracking down on Uyghurs suspected of being dissidents and separatists. The authorities' actions included shootings, arrests, and long jail sentences until 2017, when the Chinese government initiated a thorough crackdown on Uyghurs in Xinjiang. Citing a need for greater security, the government set up cameras, checkpoints, and constant police patrols in Uyghur-dominated areas. The most controversial government undertaking, which was met by protests from human rights organizations, was the indefinite detention of up to 1 million Uyghurs in political training centers, heavily fortified buildings that were likened to the re-education camps of the Mao Zedong era. In August 2018, The United Nations called upon China to end the detention, but government officials denied the existence of the camps. Thank you for listening to this discussion on the Uyghur Muslims. For more such discussions, get the UPSC Practice app from the App Store.